This is Titletown Sound.
If Joe Flacco is worth a fourth-round pick, Antonio Brown might be worth a negative fifth-round pick.
Again, I'm just a fat dude sitting on the couch. But, I watch a lot of football.
I'm here to kick ass and make steaks, and I'm all out of steaks.
Year one, he was like, all right, guys, I don't know what Dom taught you, but you need to have 11 guys on the field.
A trained orangutan could have done a better job than Ron Zerks. I mean, not even well trained.
Welcome, Packers fans, to the Titletown Sound podcast, to episode 218. This is the podcast for fans of the Green Bay Packers and fans of not dying from food poisoning. I say that because today is National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day, and without refrigerators, James, we'd all probably, we'd be skinnier. But now my co-host, a man who's never let a fridge get dirty, James Korsmo.
Nope.
How you doing, James?
I wash refrigerator every Thursday at 7:30 p.m., whether he asked me to or not.
I'm not sure what that means. That's a little disturbing.
You said I never let the fridge get dirty.
And now a man who once locked himself in the fridge to see if the light actually turned off. Kevin Falco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the light doesn't turn on much up here, guys. So.
All right, gentlemen. I had a little incident. I was in Green Bay, and my laptop remained in Green Bay until this morning when it was returned. So there is no sound off. But we do have to talk about the Green Bay Packers. I mean, it's probably a good idea to talk about the Packers. They are 8-2, gentlemen, and I want to talk about this Packers-Panthers game. First, we're going to talk before the break about the game itself, what we saw, and then after the break, we'll talk about our experience. James and I were at Lambeau Field in the snow. Kevin was not.
I was there in spirit.
Well,
he was also warm, probably.
A lot cheaper.
No kidding. So let's talk about this Panthers game. Here's the first thing I want to talk about, James. Throughout this game, just like throughout the game against Kansas City, where we had Patrick Mahomes rammed down our throats, and we got to see exactly what he was doing. Like, I think we caught him picking his toes at one point. They showed him 40-some times, and he wasn't even in the game. James, on Sunday night, we got Christian McCaffrey rammed down our throats that he's going to be the MVP. However, there was a man who emerged in that game that may be more deserving at this point. Aaron Jones is a beast.
Indeed, he is he's a special talent, man. And I know we've been saying that since here, but it seems like every week he does something that really kind of hammers it home how elite he is and how special he is. 3 touchdowns again this week. He's leading the league in touchdowns. You have to think that if he got the same amount of carries as Christian McCaffrey, he would have roughly the same amount of yards. He's just a special back. He can run, he can catch, he can block. It was a treat to watch him go out there and do work on Sunday. It was a lot of fun.
And Aaron Jones wasn't known for his hands, prior to this year. He's gotten a lot better. He's part of that passing game, and part of LaFleur's offense, Kevin, is to get those running backs involved. And we've been able to see how versatile he is as a back because of the way the new offense operates.
Yeah, and it's kind of been refreshing because last year we were lamenting his use, and this year we're able to talk about it in a positive way for the most part. So I think that's a step in the right direction. He is a beast, and he has more touchdowns than LaGuardia. I just thought of that in my head.
The airport or the mayor?
Well, both.
Sometimes,
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the mayor.
Sometimes when you've got things in your head, sometimes it's better to leave them there.
Especially mine.
Yeah. Aaron Jones, James, averaged 7.2 yards per carry against a Panthers team that is admittedly not very good against the run, but Christian McCaffrey, the alleged MVP averaged just 5.4 yards per carry against another team that isn't exactly great against the run. On Sunday, the MVP was definitely Aaron Jones.
Oh, absolutely. Aaron Rodgers looked, human. He looked kind of pedestrian. He wasn't throwing the ball great. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't, lighting it up. And Aaron Jones really, whether they game plan for him or it just kind of ends up being that way. He just takes the game over. He's a game changer. And he takes the game over and he makes it his. That is a true MVP. And now I'm not advocating necessarily that he be MVP this year. I think, there's a bunch of other guys that probably deserve it more than he does, but he should at least be in the conversation because when Aaron Jones gets going, it's really, really hard for teams to stop him. And the Packers are really 8-2 by and large because of Jones.
Yeah, and I think that James, you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if there's anything we can adjust to fix that, but maybe we can see in the commercial. But I do think he belongs in the conversation at this point. And the problem with the NFL, Kevin, is that if you're not a quarterback, it's hard for you to win the MVP almost no matter what. But to me, the way he's playing, the way he is taking over games when maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't as effective, that's what an MVP does.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're looking at like the value of Aaron Jones, you'll probably look at the end of the season and is he the Packers' most valuable player? Because that's what's going to determine the Packers' success is how important and how valuable he can be. I think like 5 of the top 6 quarterback MVP candidates right now would be quarterbacks, if not more.
Right.
So yeah, it's hard, but I think that when you look at it relatively, it's a little bit easier to make sense of than I don't put it in the NFL MVP discussion because it's kind of a pipe dream, but
yeah, sure.
I commend you for that. I like that.
Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers though a little bit because James, you said he kind of had a pedestrian game for Aaron Rodgers, and I get that. But there were a lot of positives. I mean, he threw some great passes. And what I did like is that he was taking some chances and he wasn't the tentative Aaron Rodgers that we've seen in the past couple of years. And I'll take that non-tentative Aaron Rodgers over the guy who has perfect completion percentage, but for naught. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is taking more chances. And the cool thing about that is that he's taking more chances, but it's not resulting in a lot of negative plays.
Right.
So I mean that's a good thing. And he only had little, what was it, 100 and some odd. It wasn't a lot of yardage. He didn't throw any touchdowns. When they needed him to make throws, he made throws. And
if you listen to this stat line, it's quite pedestrian, even for non-Aaron Rodgers quarterbacks. 17 for 29 for 233 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But when you watch some of those plays that he made and you watch some of those chances he took and you saw how he was in control of the game, I still think he played a pretty good game, Kev.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I think that we look at stats sometimes and overblow them because really the most important stat, speaking of being overblown, the most important stat is wins, losses, obviously, because all the other ones are just like to kind of rank individual players. When we all know the team is the most important thing, right? Or so they say. So whatever you do to win a game, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago, because the Packers have found a way each and every week to kind of do what they need to do to win the game. Not many blowouts, but doing just what they need to do.
Hopefully you can hear my dog in the background. First time she's barked in quite a while. Yeah, any other, let's talk about any other. Oh, what I would want to talk about is Davante Adams. I felt like, James, this was the first time Davante Adams was back or was in this offense that they really were able to still play that balanced run pass offense. Like they worked
planned for him.
Yeah, and they worked him in a way that it wasn't forced, and it didn't feel like he was taking touches from other people.
Yeah, I mean he factored into the game as you would expect him to, and not here goes Aaron Rodgers throwing 12 times to Devontae Adams and only 4 are really catchable. That
Right.
play, the play that Rodgers and Adams made, I think it was 3rd and 26 or 3rd and 24, something like that. And Adams got in the middle of the zone and just kind of sat down, and Rodgers threw a perfect pass to him. That's the type of stuff. That's the special type of play that championship caliber teams make. That play would not have happened last year. Like, it would have been a handoff for a gain of 3 and then up. It's refreshing, and it's really nice, and it's fun to see the offense. They throw the ball to Jake Coomer, they throw the ball to Alan Lazard. Jimmy Graham did a thing. Jimmy Graham did a couple things.
Jimmy Graham has had
true story.
Jimmy Graham renaissance.
True story. The guy that we're sitting to the whole game he had been talking. We had kind of been going back and forth about Jimmy Graham, and we both kind of agreed that Jimmy Graham's past his prime, whatever. And then Rodgers hit Graham for that, what was like a 48-yard pass where Graham got like 30 yards after the catch, and he
Hey, like truck two
we
dude.
both looked at we looked at each other and we hugged. It was a pure moment. It was a pure moment, a pure hug. It wasn't a forced hug. It was two dudes. It was two dudes that were just in the moment enjoying Jimmy Graham's renaissance. And then 2 plays later, he run blocked, and it was good. And we hugged again. And at that point, it became kind of a habit, and it became kind of weird and forced. And I didn't, whatever.
And we're
yeah.
Joe Thompson's in the chat. He says, I know I say this every year, but it feels different. Joe, I don't say it every year because last 3 years, it hasn't felt different. But I agree. This team gets things done. They win games. And here's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of an 8-2 team that wins a game against an NFL opponent, and then fans complain about how they won the game. I'm going to give you a little. This is not figure skating. You do not get style points, and there's no technical difficulty. If you win by 1 every game, you're the Super Bowl champion.
But I bet you Aaron Jones could triple Salchow into the end zone. I'm just saying.
What would Brian Boitano do?
So,
what would Brian Boitano do if he right now?
What about, since we're still on the offense, what about, I'm going to go to you first, Kevin, the play call on 4th down with a couple seconds left. I forget how much time was, like a few seconds left. In the first half. LaFleur calls for them to go for it. What did you think of that? Not the play call. Let's talk about the decision first.
Yeah, I didn't mind the decision. You're at home. The play call obviously was not the correct one, shall we say?
Let's just talk about philosophical.
I don't have a problem with going for it in the NFL, in this day and age. Now, that being said, I think that going for 2 when the Panthers went for 2, I thought that was silly. But irregardless, I know you love that one, Chris. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought the play call could have been less detrimental to the offense. But other than that, I didn't have a problem with them actually choosing to go for it.
James, what did you think about the choice to go for it on 4th down at the end of the half?
Loved it. I loved it. I was the only one in my section that loved it, but I loved it. Like, I loved it. And for a couple,
you made love to it in the middle of the game.
I made sweet.
He hugged it repeatedly.
I hugged the dude next to me, and sooner. No, you're a plant house. I never thought that happened to me. Number 1, they were at home, as Kevin said. They're at home.
Right.
Number 2, they got the ball. They got the ball out of halftime. Mm-hmm. If Carolina would have been receiving the second half kickoff, then I would have won the points. But I knew the Packers. It was really a win-win situation or a no-lose situation. You don't get the points, okay, fine. You get the ball coming out of halftime, which they did, and they scored a touchdown. I love that LaFleur showed his faith and his confidence in his team to go out there and get that 2 yards, and they didn't get it. No, in fact, they didn't even come close. But
they lost you.
But just LaFleur having the huevos to do that, I thought was just I loved it. Aaron Rodgers had an interview during the week this week where he said he didn't think they were going to go for the touchdown. He was on the bench, and like LaFleur when LaFleur called for the offense, he had to go his helmet. He didn't know his helmet was because he's not used to that. So I loved it.
That's what I loved about it. What were our complaints, and not just ours, but what were the complaints of Packers fans in general about Mike McCarthy? That he didn't put his, he didn't put his, he didn't try to kill the team, right? He let him get away.
You don't rub me the wrong way about Mike McCarthy.
His massage.
Nothing.
But our complaint was that he wouldn't go for the jugular, right? So this is LaFleur, because if they score a touchdown there and then they come out of the half and score again, they could put that game virtually away. And I know that sounds silly, but I love the choice of going for it. Now the play call it's another thing, but that's what we want to see as an aggressive Packers team. Here's how I make these decisions, whether or not I think it was a good decision. If I was a Panthers fan, what would I want the Packers to do there? If I'm a Panthers fan, I want them to kick the field goal. That's maybe I'm wrong there, but right? Do you feel that way as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's legit. Like that makes sense, right? Like you want your team to have the best advantage, and you think that maybe them kicking the field goal or going for it as the Packers gives you an advantage, but I forget what what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to open my beer here. I'm struggling with it. So,
whoa.
Beer, my fancy hard seltzer. My Bartles and James.
I think we've all right. So that's enough about the offense. Let's talk about the defense. James, the defense did enough, especially through turnovers, to win this game. They could have done more, Jair Alexander. I'm looking at you, but they played a very good game, I thought. I rewatched the game this week, and I thought the defense had a very good game. Allen's not a bad quarterback against McCaffrey, where they didn't shut him down, but they slowed him down. Pretty good performance.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I was really impressed with Allen. I thought he played really, really well. And yes, a lot of the defense did give him a lot of yardage, but I thought he made a lot of really.
You're right, Kev.
Kevin
Sorry, I
got
just
eaten by a grizzly bear. I thought Allen made a lot of really nice throws. The running defense, the rush defense didn't play terrible. Kenny Clark had a game, boys.
Yes. I'm so glad you
game.
The Smith brothers.
He was pushing. Yeah, they had a game too.
No. But the Smith brothers owe him a beer, because the way he closed that pocket, just allowed them to come around the edge and make plays. Kenny Clark was such a key in that game. And if you missed that, you watch how he collapses the pocket so that when the edge rushers come around the edge, there's nowhere for Allen to step up. That's a great observation. You get one.
Yeah,
from me.
It was fun to watch. Just watch him walk the back into the pocket, like every single drop back. And then he sniffed out another one of the kind of the unsung plays of the whole game. Happened really early on. It was like the first drive I think it was the first drive. Where Kenny Clark and I think it was Preston Smith or Zadarius, I forget which one, sniffed out a screen pass to McCaffrey. I think it was like 3rd and 6. And if it hadn't been for Clark and Smith, there was some room there, and they were like, they got him, for a 3 or 4 yard loss. That is a really tough play for a nose tackle to make, or an inner, a 3 tech to make. So
sure.
For him to for them to do that he had a great game. Now I still maintain this, and I don't want to be a dead runner. We have a inside linebacking problem.
Yeah.
And I look, I've seen a lot of Blake Martinez love on the timeline this week since the game. I don't get it. Like he's making plays 5 yards downfield. Great. He's still missing gaps. He's still not worrying. It's frustrating. It was really frustrating to watch. There were a couple plays where Greg Olsen was just hunkered down. He could have knit a sweater and made a potluck or a pot roast dinner. because there was nobody in the middle of the field, and that was on Blake. And it's frustrating. I'm a middle linebacker that can freaking cover.
Ed Lee joins us in the chat and says, "My God, I finally sobered up from the weekend." Me too, Ed. Me too. We're going to talk about that in the second half of the show. Was it Preston Smith got his 10th sack of the year?
He had two at least, right?
Yeah, so he's apparently buying
Yeah, I think I too.
buying the rest of the defense Rolexes, from what I heard. I don't know. Someone might have made that up, but sounds beauty.
No, I think I saw. That's a weird thing to like say. The first person to do this like milestone has to buy the team $40,000 in watches. But hey,
it's kind of like you get a hole in one. You have to buy everybody drinks. Same. I think it's the same concept, roughly. The defense also turned the ball over, and one of what I would like to do is extend a TTSO congratulations to Tramon Williams. He is the first defensive back over 50 to have it. I don't know, Kevin, if you were aware of that.
It was actually impressive how he's able to conceal the walker on the return.
But we did have Jair Alexander dropped an interception that would have clearly been a pick six. That would have closed. The game is over at that point. It was thrown into his hands. I mean,
that's why they play defense, right? Like that's why they're cornerbacks and not wide receivers, right?
Very right. Yeah. That was frustrating. But overall, I thought, James, the defense played an aggressive game. And that's almost as important as whatever their game plan. I mean, the aggression is what I like to see.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. Like, the defense has been catching a lot of crap this week, and some of it's deserved. Honestly, the only drive that I have a problem with in the whole entire game was the very last drive. That game bothered me, or that drive bothered me because it was an 80-yard drive. I think it was like 18 plays, which is just inconceivable. I think they converted 2 fourth downs, and then one was on a penalty. But
yeah,
like you can't live that way and succeed in the NFL. Like eventually, it's going to catch up with you. But they got the stop when they needed it. And, I guess you can't complain too much.
Yeah, I agree with James. They were catching more crap than Najee Davenport's ex-girlfriend's hamper.
How long you been sitting on that one?
Like
he said catching crap, and I just thought of it. Beauty.
That was a good yeah, proud of that one. It wasn't even mine. What else can we say about this defense?
I would say it's important to keep in mind the fact that the team is winning these games, right? Like even though you might think they should win by 20 or 30 or 60, in this NFL, the game is designed, if you haven't noticed, to come down to the last play, the last drive. So to win any game against any opponent by any score is good. Don't worry about anything else. Just a win is a win. You move to the next week. A matchup is a matchup. It's a different game.
And for those who are concerned about the way the defense played, let's remember they gave up 16 points. That's it. 16 points.
Beat 80% of the teams in this league.
If you give up 16 points every week, you would take that. You would take that heartbeat. You take that.
Go 8-2. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yes, this team has flaws, but guess what? Like Kevin said, every team in the NFL does, and they're designed. That's the way the parity is designed in this league. The only team that it doesn't have flaws is New England because Bill Belichick sold his soul to Satan. But that's not our fault. There's nothing we can do there.
Actually, I think it's the Ravens. I think the Ravens are better than. I mean, they are better than New England. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I hate to admit that.
We cannot have a Ravens Packers Super Bowl. That won't work for our family.
That would be tough. That would be tough.
A lot of Natty Boo going down up there.
Hey, we go get some Natty Bays, watch a Super Bowl, get some crabs with some Old Bay.
Honestly, the worst part about it is the fact that people think that we want to watch the game with them. You know what I mean? Like if it's a Ravens Packers Super Bowl, I'm going to get invited, and people are going to think that. Sorry, but nah. I'm good. I'll watch it. I'd rather watch it like by myself on my phone in my basement than with opposing teams' fans.
Yeah. Because either I'm going to punch someone or I'm going to hate them, or both. And I don't want that. All right, we got to talk about one more thing on this game and last game, and I don't want to because it's upsetting. What's happened to the gorgeous stork?
Ooh, he's migrating. Yeah.
He's and I would say maybe he can't punt in the cold, but Los Angeles was not cold. James, what the hell's happened to this guy? Why can't J.K. Scott punt anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I at first I also thought, oh, it's the cold. It's the same thing as last year. And then you brought up the point that he sucked in Los Angeles too, and that was like 85 degrees.
I sucked in Los Angeles once. Oh, well, I'm sorry, totally different. Totally. I mean, carry on.
Shout out to Kato Kalin. So I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I honestly don't. It's befuddling. We need to get him back to the 60-yard, 5-second long hang time. J.K. Scott, John Kimball Scott, that we know and love, not the Jacob Shum that we don't.
Do you have any J.K. Scott theories?
I do, but I can only say it on the Patreon podcast because it's
Kevin.
X-rated.
Do you have?
I
any?
do. I think he's dating a professional go-kart racer.
Oh, I get it. Because Roger.
Oh, I see Aaron Rodgers. Oh,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
I took a second.
So, Andy Gilbert asked, could it be the pressure getting into him fast? I could see that being an issue. I just haven't seen that on every. Yeah, I mean, he got a punt block, but I haven't seen it every time. And I think that would be obvious if it was the case. What do you think, James?
You know, now that I think about it, I think that he really kind of took his downhill turn after that punt got blocked. I think, you know, maybe that does have something to do with it. Maybe that got in his head, and he's rushing through his process. I don't know enough about punting. We should try to get Chris Cluey back on. Maybe he can tell us.
The punt doctor. Yeah, maybe we could have you. I mean, I think I still have his cell phone. He's probably go tell me to pound sand, but I could, reach back out. All right, so that's enough about the game that was 8-2. The Green Bay Packers going into the bye. I mean, if we were doing a state of the Packers address at the bye, we could not have wished for better than 8-2. I mean, you could wish for 9-1 or 10-0, but realistically, 8-2 was out of the question. This is where you want to be at the top of the division, near the top of the conference. If you're not having fun at this point watching these games, stop watching the games. Save yourself the 3.5 hours a week, because this is as much fun as it gets. Even if they lose a game or two, this is still fun. I don't understand people who don't get joy from this. What's the point?
Nope. Nobody had them. Well, only one of us had them at 8-2 at this point of the season.
That was me, not Chris. Me.
Yeah, it was Kevin. It was Kevin. Absolutely not Chris. It was Kevin. I mean, nobody in the world had them at 8-2 right now. This is special, and it feels like we're on the verge of something really, really cool here, and not just for this year.
I was gonna say, great point. Let's say they don't win the Super Bowl this year, right? Because odds are they won't. You still feel great about the next 5 or 6 or 7 years, however long Aaron Rodgers plays, because Matt LaFleur has unlocked something in Aaron Rodgers and this offense that, Kevin, is exciting going forward. It's not like, can Aaron Rodgers win the game in spite of Mike McCarthy? That's not how it is anymore.
And it's not just the offense, it's the defense too, because the defense is so much different than what we were used to. And even if the defense isn't the top defense in the league, if it's in the top half, that is a vast improvement over, what it's been. So, for me, it's not just the offense, it's also the defense. And the defense is cool because not many teams have a good defense. So when you have a game where your defense gets showcased, I think that's always a good sign. I always like that.
Yeah. All right. Before we go to break, we have to talk about some very important people to this podcast. Those are our OG Hall of Fame patrons. They have been with us a long time, or they've just donated a lot of money to the show. Either way, we love it. Mm-hmm. So let's thank our OGs. And for that, we go to Kevin.
Hey guys, we have 5 OGs I'd like to talk about as my heater kicks on behind me. So if you hear that, I apologize. This is awkward. The first OG is Scott Neer. So before Scott got his hands on them, pretzels were just 2 feet of like just long, like thin, buttery, salty deliciousness, right? He said, "Hey, what if we twist them up and then you can hold them in our hands and we can eat them?" And so Scott did that. And so that's why they're called pretzels after Scott. Jason Hicks. So prior to Jason's intervention, cinnamon rolls were just really long, thin pieces of dough with cinnamon on them. He said, no, guys, let's roll them up, make it a handheld, efficient snack. It's delicious. Great idea. Milo Meadsong. So Milo's first job out of college was as a French fry crinkler. So as the fries would come down the conveyor belt, he would cut the crinkles out, and then they'd go into the bags and they'd go for sale. James Hambelin with a heavy B. Before he decided to become a math teacher, James worked at a ding dong factory. He was the main stuffer at the Hostess Snack Cake Factory.
The what?
The Hostess Snack Cake Factory. He was the main ding dong stuffer. He stuffed the cream in the ding dongs. And then finally, last but definitely not least, Chris, not Christofko or James Korsmo. Chris was the person who figured out that too much of those Alestra chips, remember those? They could cause anal leakage. But not because they ate too many, but because the scientist. And so science discovered that would cause your butt to juice. For lack of that's a scientific term. Is there a problem?
If I want that, I can't decide.
It looks like there's a problem.
I'd like to thank James Hamlin for his months of patronage, and I hope he'll come back soon.
I can't decide if I want the episode title to be Ding Dong Stuffer or Butt Juice.
I was a fudge packer for 4 years of my life. What? It's true. I worked at Candy Kitchen, and I put fudge into a box as a fudge packer. Yes. I put that on a resume one time. What's it to you? I got the job.
Maybe we should just go to commercial.
I would.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go to commercial. We come back. Thank God the FCC doesn't regulate us because, I mean, wouldn't. But all right. We'll be back in a minute. I know what the episode title is not going to be.
Did you know that you can help support our show financially without any additional cost to you? Well, if you use Amazon, and let's face it, who doesn't? You can go through our Amazon affiliate link, and we'll get a small portion of the proceeds. You pay nothing extra, and you still get your awesome stuff delivered in like 2 days. So go to www.titletownsoundoff.com/Amazon. And just order like you normally would, and you help the show. That's www.titletownsoundoff.com/Amazon. Happy shopping.
If you would like to support the show and help others find it, give us a review and a rating. Go to Apple Podcasts and write something nice and give us 5 stars. Thanks.
We're back from break, and we brought Kevin back. I don't know why, but we did.
Nobody else would take him.
At a reduced rate.
That's true. All right, so let's get back and talk about the other patrons that we want to recognize, our Hall of Famers. And for that, we go to James Korsmo. James.
Yes. So none of my none of these people have caused or experienced anal leakage. I don't believe, at least not due to potato chips.
And said nothing about experienced it. I said discovered it. There's a difference. You got to listen to the transcripts. Read the transcripts.
Which one of you is a lawyer again?
Torts.
So we have Jeff St. Augustine, Paul Gold Sack, heavy on the sack, Kyle Turpening, who is a wonderful fellow, Nick, who almost became John Glenn this week, but the rocket booster failed, DJ Foot, who I know now not to make a reference to a certain 70s crooner, and Bill Zine Savage. Now, those six gentlemen, all of them have been suspended by the NFL for the rest of the season due to throwing their equipment at people.
All of them. James Hamlin joins us in the chat. Wondering how long he's been with us.
He says surprise stream. That's what she said.
We gotta put a limit on the number of seltzers Kevin's allowed to drink during the show because
no, you guys only. No, this is just for the show because listen, the reasoning it's actually quite sound. This is mostly water, right? It's like water with alcohol, so it keeps my palate moist, so I'm able to speak. I've drank previously to this. I'm just not drinking these.
I got so drunk at the Packers game that I ate someone else's nacho. So I don't really have a whole lot of.
Did you eat them off? Like, did somebody discard them on the floor and you just like pick them up? I was like, I'll take those and eat those.
No, I got Matt says go Pack Go from the UK. That means someone in the UK is watching our show live, which is amazing. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks,
it's
Matt.
4:42 in the morning. Beauty. Hey,
Jay,
I wonder if Matt knows our cousin.
Do us a favor when you download the podcast, just listen to the second half. I'm just teasing. All right. So James and I went to the Packers game this weekend, and we're going to use this second half since we're on bye. We're going to talk about our trip because there's no game to talk about, right? And we got to fill at least another 20 minutes or so. James, I got to Green Bay on Friday night very late. I've always said, so I flew in one time, flew into Chicago and drove up and said I'd never do it again. And I realized why. Because I flew into Midway. This time I flew into O'Hare. Yeah, I flew into O'Hare and it really wasn't that bad. It was like 2 hours 45.
Yeah, Midway is in the southern part of Chicago. So you have to drive all through Chicago.
That was
and O'Hare, yeah. Also, Midway is kind of a second world country. It's not a nice area.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So that wasn't bad. I actually didn't mind driving up. We got to our hotel, went to bed. And then, James, we did what we do on our off day before the games. We woke up early and we went to Goodwill. And not only did I benefit at the Goodwill from my various purchases, but Joe and our listeners are going to benefit tonight because we have a giveaway. I'm not going to give you the full details, but you lucky listener or viewer could be lucky enough to win. I left the tag on it from Goodwill. Your very own AJ Hawk Super Bowl 45 jersey. I can't say it's game worn, but I can't prove it's not game. This is
authenticated that it's not necessarily not game worn.
We looked for his helmet, but we couldn't find it anywhere.
It flew off. So this jersey will be available. We're going to give it away over the next couple of weeks. It has the Super Bowl 45 patch on it. And it cost me, well, this is the beauty of Goodwill. This jersey cost me a grand total of $8.99. And it is a size 50, which I can tell you a size 50 means I can get it I can get it physically over my nipples, but it is.
But it tears the mesh.
It's so tight that if I bent over, I would rip it right between the 5 and the 0. So,
it tears the mesh.
I'm gonna guess that it's an adult large. That's what I'm gonna guess. An adult large. I would also recommend that as soon as you win it and get it, that you wash it. You know what? I'm going to throw that in for you. I'm going to wash it for you.
Put a Tide Pod in the mail with it. Here, wash yourself.
So, I'll tell you. We'll tell you how you can win that a little bit later. So we went. And don't let me forget to tell them how they can win it, because otherwise,
did we figure that out? I don't know if I knew. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you were.
No, I don't need to know. It's cool.
So Saturday morning,
you're not eligible.
Goodwill shopping. I spent over $200 at Goodwill. I got like all this barware. So we had flight vouchers that we had to use for Frontier. So we had a carry-on each, and we had a checked bag each, which we didn't need all of that. Like I had basically 3/4 of my checked bag was full, but then I had a quarter of that, and then the full carry-on was empty. I bought a lamp. Like I bought all this crap. It was amazing.
I bought lamp.
But then on Saturday we did the Lambeau Field tour, as well as the Hall of Fame. And I took on the tour with me 4 Panthers fans. And I can honestly tell you that they thought it was the coolest thing. Like, even though they're Panthers fans, I wouldn't think about us. If we went to a Carolina game, which I've been to a Carolina Panthers game in Carolina. If you told me we could take a stadium tour or, punch ourselves in the face, that's a toss up. I don't really necessarily need to see that stadium, but they were really impressed. I will never get tired of that tour. James, you've done it a few times.
I have. There's nothing like coming through the tunnel and like stepping on what they let you step on. It's just, I love that place, man. I love it so much. I wish I could just live there.
There is, so when they actually let you out on the field, and they don't let you on the field, but you're on that little like rubber warning track. Amanda, my wife, saw a little piece of turf, like, when they aerate a field and they like punch a little hole in it. I don't know that's what it was, but it was like a little nickel-sized circle of turf that was on the little warning track, and risking incarceration. Amanda subtly bent down, picked it up, and put it in her pocket. So I have a piece of Lambeau Field, or I have someone's pocket lint. I'm not sure, but I'm going with piece of Lambeau Field. The Hall of Fame, still amazing. I don't know.
I mentioned Ed Lee's comment there. I think that's super funny. He said, my papa shoulder checked the guy and dropped his burger. Dude was so drunk that he picked it up off the ground and ate it.
We haven't gotten to the drunk story, which is where we're going right now.
That's terrific.
So Sunday, we had James and I both went to a tailgate that started 3 hours before kickoff, which when you think about it, seems like a great deal, but really you're only getting 2 hours of tailgate because you can't stay till
you gotta head to the game. Yeah,
right. But regardless, for $25,
oh, you got your money's worth. I know you got your money's worth.
I got my money's worth, your money's worth, James's money's worth. There was a guy in the parking lot, the other parking lot. I got his money's worth too. I got a little too much money's worth, but and what I love about Wisconsin, James, and I don't know if this is just where we were or if this is all over the state, we walked in with 4 beers off the street and they were like, whatever. It's just like,
yep, no. That is one of the greatest things about this wonderful state that I live in. You can walk into anywhere in this with a 6-pack just open. You can walk into the Capitol building. You can walk into church. You can walk into a hospital. You can walk into your grandpa's funeral. It doesn't matter. Just whatever. You can walk, like an adoption hearing, whatever you like, anything you want, any place you want.
You're the child,
like hospice. It's like the norm around here. Like, you wake up in the morning, you grab your road sodas, and you go. It's fantastic.
If you can't drink a beer at hospice care, this isn't America.
Road sodas. That's one of my favorite terms ever. Road soda.
What I was impressed with is so at this tailgate, which we went to the tailgate at the Green Bay Distillery, which was run by Event USA. They're paying $0 for this, so they didn't endorse this at all. Pretty good food, like decent food. They had brats and dogs and like decent stuff. The food was nothing elaborate, but they had pretty good beer. and vodka lemonades. And what I liked is that they were prepared. They had at least 24 vodka lemonades poured before the doors opened. Either they were
Before we
roofied,
even walked in, yes.
right? So either they roofied all of us, or they were just very considerate.
I do like a good vodka lemonade. That's a nice vehicle, the lemonade.
Well, we were shopping around because Amanda doesn't drink beer, and she's kind of picky about what she drinks. And she went with that's why we ended up at that tailgate. But it was not a bad. It was good because it was in a tent. So had it started raining or snowing or whatever, it was relatively warm compared to other places. What did you think about it, James?
Yeah, I thought it was really nice. It was I thought the MC did a really good job. Like the host did a really good job. Antonio Freeman was there.
Yeah.
He showed up. You
Moreno.
cleaned out spectacularly. You cleaned out spectacularly in a scavenger hunt.
What could I
was
not
fun to
get?
watch. You could not get somebody's sock. A fun
All right.
sock.
They brought 5 of us up, and he would call out an item. We had to go get it, and it was like musical chairs and scavenger hunt combined. And whoever was the last one back with the item was eliminated. The first item was a $50 bill, which I did return. I was able to get. The second item was a credit card with a picture on it, which was an easy one. I got that too. The third item was the sock. And now here's the problem. There was also like what would you say? She's about 11.
Not even. Maybe 9.
Like a 9-year-old girl in this scavenger hunt. So there was no winning.
You had no chance. Yeah.
I could not win, but I could have finished second, right? I ended up finishing third. But
So hold on a second. So you were up in front of everybody, and they said, "Get this," and then everybody went from the crowd, into the crowd to go get it.
Precisely. Yes.
So yeah, they're going to help the kid, not you. They're going to say,
not even about helping. Like even if Amanda had the item, I wasn't going to beat the little girl. Like so, what I was really impressed with is when they got down to the final 2. It was the little girl against this other dude. When they announced the item, he took a knee and just let her win. Which that was the way to go. You can't win that. You cannot.
Can't take a knee.
Yeah,
either,
he did the smart thing.
I mean, it wasn't like
he disenfranchised everybody by taking a knee. Let's be honest. He's going to be having to work out with 11 people from the NFL watching him next 2
weeks. So Ed Lee was there as well. I drank my face off. I wasn't. At one point, I was quadruple fisting, but that was not my fault. I blame my wife for that.
I don't even. How do you do that? That's impressive.
I just had 4. I had 4 working beers at one point.
But you didn't have them each in a hand.
I mean, I only have 2 hands.
Right. I was just trying to clear that up. Gotcha. Okay.
The 4 beers I held at once was.
Well, for those who are listening, they might not be able to realize that. I mean, those who are watching, we could tell that you only have 2 hands.
They might not. Might have 4 hands. James, what did you go over to the Titletown District after the what do you call it?
Yeah.
The tailgate?
We went before the tailgate. So here we did it. We did it kind of in a bad way. Like so, it was my kids and my wife and I. We went up, and we decided to leave to be up there by I think we got up at 9:30 is when we ended up getting up there. Which left us 3 hours before the tailgate started, 6 hours before the game.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it was freezing cold, and my kids were, they were uncomfortable.
They were being kids,
even though they were. Yeah. Well, yeah, they were being kids. So we kind of hung out, in the place where we parked for a while, and then we went over to the Titletown District, and which was a lot of fun. My kids always love playing on the football field there, and they had a cool exhibition thing where they had the nets or the I don't know what you call them, the baskets set up like Aaron Rodgers throws the ball to on family night. They had 3 of those. Yeah, they had 3 of those set up, and they had organized where you could go, get in line and you could chuck passes at them. So that was kind of fun. The kids got to do that, and then
that's neat.
They ran the 40. I did not run the 40.
Did you drink the 40?
I didn't drink the 40 either. They were all out of my favorite 40 beverage, Old English.
Of course,
they didn't have that. I didn't see Kyle Kuzno either, who promised me a drink off. He wasn't there, so I can only assume he chickened out, which means I win.
Right.
And
I'm sure you're really trying to find him.
I looked all over that little football field for him. And no, it was good. We played all the little games, and the sled hill was not in operational order, but the ice skating rink was.
I was really disappointed in that because it was cold enough to have the sledding, and I mean, I guess they just don't have like snow make. I thought they would have like a little snow maker thing, but I was really looking forward to drunkenly breaking a leg on the sledding hill. But that was
Just
not an
running
option.
into Mark Murphy on your way down.
Go in tandem with them. Come on, Mark.
Sit on my lap, Mark. So yeah, we did that, and then we met up with you guys at the tailgate, and had a really good time. Ate a lot of foods with a lot of nitrates in them, which is fun. And then we decided to go off to Lambeau Field to try to get in and go to the pro shop, which didn't happen either. So we just kind of hung out, and we went in when the stadium opened at 1:15 or whatever, and hung out.
Let's talk about the game day experience, because the game day experience at Lambeau is better than just about anywhere else. And to go to a game in the cold, I've never done it before. It was such a special experience. I've always gone to games in September because I'm a big chicken. But James, that game, the atmosphere alone was incredible.
It was amazing. Like you said, I'm the same way. I have never been to a cold weather game. I've never been I've never been to a snow game at Lambeau. The closest I've been is the game that we went to, all three of us, a couple years ago against New Orleans, when it was like in the mid 40s and raining.
Right.
It was, I mean, like out of a storybook. Not to get like hyperbolistic here, but like it was sitting in the bowl, of the stadium. The snow drifting down.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I'm going to interrupt you because we have some Brazil checking in the live chat, and I want to say hi to them. Thank you very much. Yeah, anybody else want to try to pronounce his name?
Guilherme
Base.
Guilherme
Base.
Beauty. Thanks, man. All right, sorry. You were painting a picture. You were painting a word picture.
It was yeah.
I was verbally Bob Rossing all over all of you. Wait a minute. I don't think that. Anyway, so
what happened? Go with the
flow. No, it was just it was amazing. And as the game wore on, the snow started coming down even harder. And it was just at the beginning of the day, I remember looking at the weather and seeing like 36 degrees and flurries, and I'm like, oh, that's not bad. And by the end of the fourth quarter, it was just dumping piles of snow on us.
It was amazing.
Was just. Yeah.
I listened to the radio broadcast of the game as well, and they kept mentioning a snow globe effect. It seemed to be a big theme of the evening. I wanted to Chris, I know that when Papa K goes to games, he wants to go early in the season because he's going to avoid the cold, right? Because he's super duper old. But I wanted to ask you guys, how was experience? It felt like the Lambeau experience, right? Like the snow, the mystique, all that. It was kind of I was super jealous of you guys being there for that type of game when I was home doing dishes.
Yeah, it was. I'm going to speak for myself, but it was incredible. I mean, I can't describe how that stadium feels. And with the snow, I mean, it was just.
It's like when you used to climb the rope in gym class.
But it was different, right? A game where it's warm out and whatever. It's still amazing at Lambeau, but this just was the visual. You felt like this is what it's supposed to feel like when you watch football. I don't know.
Yes. Yep. No, that is perfect. I said that on my home. I said, this is what going to a game at Lambeau Field should feel like. You should feel like this when you leave, just in awe of the whole thing. Right. It was the weather, the crowd. I was saying to you before the show started, my whole section was the coolest people, man. There was not a jerk in the area. People were standing up and cheering, and nobody, was yelling it to sit down, and high fives and hugs, and just a lot of it was was a community. It wasn't just like a group of people that randomly got together. I felt like I knew these people. It was amazing. Can we talk just for 2 seconds about the halftime festivities? Because I thought it was
Sure.
funny.
Yeah, because I'm going to be honest. I don't know that I was probably urinating the whole time.
What happened at halftime?
I hope in the
That's Chris
bathroom.
urinating.
So about halfway through the second quarter, it's snowing. It's so like hard. Like it was, you couldn't see very far out in front of you. So we hear the sound of this airplane, like low flying airplane, and my son looks up and he's like, "Dad, there's a big like army plane circling the stadium." And I look up and there you could see it. It was a big, huge like army plane circling the stadium. And I was like, it's really weird. Like, what's going on? So at halftime, the halftime entertainment was skydivers.
Whoa.
And I'm like, there's no way. They announced them, and I'm like, there's no way these dudes are jumping out of a plane into a freaking blizzard. But lo and behold, apparently they train you for that in the Air Force. And these dudes jumped out of this plane. 4 of them jumped out of the plane. And 3 of them ended up in Lambeau Field. Three of them ended up field. 1 ended up in a parking lot a block and a half away. One of the ones that ended up in Lambeau Field nailed the wall so hard I thought he got a concussion. So
is that true? Is that legit? Did one of them miss?
Yeah, what he really missed. It was on Scanner Squawk.
I want to share. I'm going to kind of mute our video.
Missed.
I'm going to take our video off for each of us. I have 2 pictures I want to share with you guys that I took during the game.
Hope they're safe.
They're safe for work, I believe. All right. So picture 1 is a shot of this was my seats when the snow basically just started, but you can get the feel for how cool it was. I mean, later in the game, the snow was on the field, and but it was really cool. The second photo I've got is so I don't remember taking or posting this, but I was really proud of my new hat. So I want to show you this picture of me in my new hat that my wife bought me at the pro shop. It was a surprise during the game. And then there's something a little disturbing about this picture. I think
there's no dongs out,
but I think I took it in the bathroom.
You definitely did, but there are no
looks
dongs.
Like a bathroom to me.
Yeah.
I took a picture in the men's room.
It's okay. It's totally normal to take pictures in the men's room.
That definitely looks like the bathroom to me.
so there it is. Yeah.
But neither of the 2 dudes around you seem to care about that you were taking a picture.
That might be the most disturbing part of the whole thing, because if some dude takes out his picture and starts taking selfies in the bathroom, I'm a little disturbed by that.
I start showing off. I'm like, hey, here you go. Here's a look. Is that just me? I guess that's just me.
Yeah, that's just you.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, and as much as I loved going to this game and how amazing it was, the one thing that I'm reminded of every time is how good the NFL experience is on television. Because I don't know about you, but I had to go watch the game again on television that I had DVR'd to really get the full feel for the action on the field. You just don't. It's almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, the hardest part for me is just not having instantaneous knowledge. Like, okay, you see somebody get hurt, but you can't tell who it is. Right. You can't tell how bad they're hurt or back. Are they not? There was a part of the games. I don't know if you guys remember this. The Packers received a punt, and it looked like a touchback because it went in the end zone, and the guy. But they ended up with the ball at the 10-yard line, and I don't know if the referee's mic didn't work. They had the ball at the 10, and nobody ever explained why. And I felt like there was a penalty, but I never knew. So it was totally confusing. That type of stuff. Yeah, but you know what? I would rather go to a game at Lambeau than watch on TV every day. Every day of the week.
Now, there are certain places where I would choose to watch it on TV, even if it was a Packers game. There's one more picture and one more story I want to share. So I'm going to mute our video again so I can show it to the live streaming audience. And that's this picture. And
Ooh,
you may not be able to see, but on that
delicious.
right there in the middle, someone left their nachos. And so what I said was, if the Packers defense gets off the field, it was third down, I would go eat a chip. They did, and much to my wife's discontent, I went and porked some dude's nacho. Just one. I didn't take any cheese sauce, so I think it was totally cool. But I did take someone's nacho. I don't know.
Nachos are just savory Dunkaroos. There, I said it.
But it was such a hell of an experience. And on the way out of the game, remember, Lambeau holds like 70-some-thousand people. I'm walking out of the game, and I run into one of the 20 people that I know that are at the game, which was pretty cool. And then my wife said it was a hell of a drive home. I don't know. I like to say I fell asleep in the car.
Your wife was right. That drive sucked.
You had to do it. Yours was much longer than driving to the Country Inn and Suites in Green Bay.
An hour and 45-minute trip from Green Bay to Oconomowoc, Wisconsin took us 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, ouch.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, that sucked. I-41 after any Packers game is a nightmare, but throw snow on top of it. Oh.
All right. Anything else to add about that game, James? I thought it was amazing.
Oh, I thought it was great. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Lambeau game experience I've ever had.
Agreed. We do have our recurring segment that we need to bring back before we get out of here, and that's the David Bakhtiari 69 of the week.
69, dudes! Nice. 69! Nice.
Just a reminder, our attorneys have made us say that David Bakhtiari in no way endorses or even approves of or even likes us and does not endorse the 69 of the week. However,
He does like 69.
well, if you added Devontae Adams targets in this game with Jimmy Graham's yards receiving, do you know what you get?
69, dudes.
69, dudes! Nice. 69! Nice.
10 targets, 59 yards,
Yep.
69. Beauty.
There you go. Papa K is on bye this week. I believe he may be vacationing.
He's in the Lesser Antilles this week.
We have a couple of voicemails. One from an unknown caller at halftime.
All right, so it's halftime. And I do not mind that going for the touchdown at all. Outside of that, play call was terrible, but Mike McCarthy would have punted there. But all in all, the defense looks great. And special teams still is a mess. They got to figure that out. But, I mean, we still have Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. And I'm confident in that man right there. He's going to get us the win. And, you know, we're going to be 8-2. And go Pack, go. All right. Peace.
Clairvoyant.
I think the best part, though, James, or Kevin, whatever, is that this team has Aaron Rodgers, but this team doesn't need Aaron Rodgers to be Superman every game to win the games. And that's different than it's been in the past.
It's a palate cleanser. It's great.
All right. We have one more caller. And this one, I know, this is Ben.
Hey guys, it's Ben calling after the Packers win over the Panthers. I was also able to be at the game today, and besides that final drive making me feel a little uncomfortable, what an amazing game to be at. The snow was amazing. The offense, the running game really taking shape again. the halftime show, with the parachuters and the flyover, it was amazing. Just want to share one cool thing about the game. I was there with a buddy of mine. We got there really early, went down to the field for pregame warm-ups, and we're just watching them warm up. And Tim Boyle was out there throwing some passes, and he throws a ball to a kid standing in the stand 5 or 10 feet down from where we were standing. And then he proceeds to throw a pass to every single person standing at the fence line, starting kind of where we were, going all the way around to the end zone. He must have done it for 30 minutes, just throwing passes to fans. We don't talk about backup quarterbacks much, but that's the way to become a backup quarterback of the people. It was just a really cool experience. Always love being at Lambeau. Love the show. Just wanted to call and celebrate with all the Packer fans. So it was a good day. Good day. Go Pack, go. Have a great night.
So I was a little distracted during that call because Guillerme is telling a story in the chat that I want to share with all of us before we get out of here. And he says that last year he drove from Denver to Green Bay. A police officer stopped our car in Tennessee and didn't believe we were going to a Packers game. Here's the thing. First issue. And I think that I'm fairly intelligent and that I know my geography. If you had told me to drive from Denver to Green Bay, you go through Tennessee, I would have thought
lost.
Right? Am I, or is that the right way to go? I don't know. Either way. Okay. So
I guess you go through. I guess if you go 70, that probably goes through Tennessee. Then you head north through Tennessee. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
So, but I had no idea.
Have you ever been to Dollywood?
I would go, but I've not. I've not been.
Well,
anyway,
I think that's
anyway, there's more to this story. The police officer stops him, and then then he searched their trunk for drugs. That sounds like Brazilian profiling to me. Just putting it out.
Yeah, totally.
Opened our bags. By the way, you didn't have to give him permission.
Yeah, he did not have the right to do that.
Give me a little ring a ding. Opened our bags. Then he found a Mike Daniels jersey, and then after that, he let him go. The Mike Daniels alibi. That it's famous, really. People.
If the jersey fits, you must acquit.
Thank God it wasn't looked by Guy on.
The Packers' next game against San Francisco has been flexed. So we're going to be a Sunday night game. How do you feel about that? Do you like being the Sunday night game? Because I don't, because then I'm dragging all day at work. Kind of just disappeared.
I hate it. I hate it so much because as people who follow me on Twitter know, I get the anxiety about 12 hours before game time, and then I gotta wait until like 7, and then that sucks. I don't like it.
You know what it is?
You
know, for me, honestly, like I don't mind Sunday night games because that means that my Sunday itself is free to do what I need to do. True. Right? I like it. I think I like it. I don't know. That's all.
Hold on. We have an update from Guillerme that it was a trip with his father and he really wanted to visit Kansas and Tennessee. Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. So I'm not geographically crazy. I just want to make
sure. It still doesn't make any sense why you would want to visit Kansas and Tennessee, but okay. I'm not going to judge.
Yeah, I can understand, but Kansas?
Tennessee. Hey, let's go see Appalachia.
Hey, look, Dad.
Appalachia has to offer.
Come on. We have
I believe Jack Daniels is made in Kansas or Tennessee, one of the two. So I mean,
Kentucky.
That's good.
That's Kentucky.
I don't know.
Close enough. Neither. Yeah, it's neither one of those places.
All right, we're already
quality moonshine, nonetheless.
We are already way over time. Is it worth talking about the Steelers Browns debacle of last? You know what? Sure, bonus time. We're going into overtime, guys.
This is not a terrible episode, so let's keep going.
First touchdown wins here in overtime. No, it's a pretty good episode. What do you think about? I don't know. What the hell's the question? Like a guy tried to beat another man to death with his helmet. How do we address that? Here's what's going to happen. Here's the thing that's going to happen is that they're going to end up. He's not going to be suspended for the year. What's his name?
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett is not going to end up serving a full suspension because the collective bargaining agreement really doesn't allow it. I'll bet you he'll get like 4 to 6 games somewhere. It'll be significant. And then everybody will complain, but I just don't think he's going to get the full time. What do you think, James?
I mean, obviously he's appealing it. They came out today and said that they did suspend him for the rest of the season.
Right.
He should. I look. There's competitive, juices, and there's just being a heated competitor, and then there's just being an a-hole.
Yep. Yeah.
And Garrett crossed over that line pretty time last night. Rudolph, with his nose so bright, did start it. But that doesn't matter because if I walk up to Myles Garrett and I'm like, "Hey, dude, your chain looks stupid," and then he hits me in the head with a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire, technically I started it. But do I? The baseball bat with barbed wire is a bit much.
Very neat of you.
Well, it really bothers me that like, dude tried somebody on national TV and
here's the thing. He could have not. I mean, this is not an exaggeration. He legitimately could have killed the dude. Like, that's not a joke. You swing a hard object at someone's head, you hit him the wrong way, you could cause brain damage. I mean, this could cause permanent injury to the guy for life. And you are an ass hat, so that I don't have to bleep myself. And you deserve to be suspended for the season. You probably, well, I don't know about killing a guy's career, but I'm close to saying don't come back to the NFL. Okay?
So
yeah, that's just
Sorry, I didn't watch the end of the game last night, but I watched the highlights this morning. And I was watching the NFL highlights, and the announcer guy was kind of funny because he was like, Mason Rudolph didn't have the best game. He threw 4 interceptions and then got beat with his own helmet. That is not the best game. That's an undersell, actually. I think you're burying the lead there.
So Matt Dilger in the chat asks, is it not breaking any laws? And I'm going to take a little opportunity to answer that because I remember studying this in law school.
Is that a tort? Was he a tortfeasor?
So that's a good question, actually, even though you are mocking. Generally, the courts will not call something that happens in a sporting contest, for lack of a better term. They will not allow you to sue for an intentional tort or for negligence, because if that what happened is within the general course of what you'd expect in a game. For instance, let's say you get slashed in hockey and it breaks your leg. If you sued someone for that broken leg, you would most likely lose because the court's going to say playing hockey, even though it's a penalty, you can expect to get slashed, right?
But you would not expect to get your helmet swung at you in football.
Exactly. So what I'm saying to Matt is it's possible that, and it doesn't look like he was injured from it, but had he been injured, now it's not necessarily against the law, although it could be assault, that he could be charged criminally. I'm really talking about civil law. It is possible because it's so outside of the bounds of the game that what he did was criminal. And I bet you, had there been an injury as a result, he may have been charged, or at the very least, he could have been sued.
Keep talking civil law. I'm almost there.
Lawn boner.
Right. You know what? On that note, I think it's probably time to get out of here. Thanks for joining us on episode 218 of the Titletown Sound podcast. Do us a favor and go over to patreon.com/TTSO and become a patron. For just as little as $1 an episode, you will get our bonus content, and we owe you 2 bonus shows this month. We're going to record them soon, we hope.
For just 73 cents a day, you could feed Kevin for a week.
Kevin, before we get out of here, what do you got? What do you got to say? Anything?
Guys, if you don't think that the healthcare system needs reform, then you need to wake up.
Damn.
That's it.
Justice.
We got our first bill from our daughter's stay in the hospital this week. And it's
let's put it this way.
Fun.
We need a lot more patrons.
It's fun. Yeah, it'll be fun.
James, anything,
less heavy?
Let me try to bring some levity to this. Rudy Giuliani. No, I'm kidding. If you
bold strategy, Cotton.
if you have made it an hour and 20 minutes, holy crap! If you've made it 80 minutes into this train wreck,
I got 75, but close enough.
okay,
Thanks, Mom.
all right. Tweet us the word. Let's go with snow globe. Hey, Chris.
Nice. Oh, wait, that reminds me. I forgot to tell
Yes.
people how they can win this jersey. This amazing, possibly authentic AJ Hawk jersey from a genuine, authentic Wisconsin Goodwill. And we're going to do this. We're going to do this over. So who did the Packers play after the Niners?
The Giants.
All right. So after the Giants game that week, I think we'll pick a winner. How's that? That work for you guys?
Sure, yeah.
So how can you win? You're asking. You're saying, guys, I made it through 75 GD minutes of this podcast just to win a $9 Goodwill jersey. Tell me how the hell I can win.
I'm going to say $9 Goodwill jersey. That's like $100 in real life. I'm just going to put that out there. Okay, go ahead.
So how do you win? All you have to do is tweet something. We're not going to be sticklers, right? Something close to this. I'm listening to the Titletown, and you could tag us. I'm listening to the @Titletown Sound podcast, and it is, you can put in your own adjective, whatever it is. I don't
Preferably
care.
a good one.
But doesn't have to be. And it
Listenable. That would work.
Listenable. That would be a huge compliment. And then make sure, here's the important part. You hashtag it TTSO. Hashtag, that's the number sign, TTSO. That's how we will find it. And then on that show, after the Giants game, we will randomize your entries. We will pick a winner, and we will shower you with a used, possibly fake Chinese jersey.
I mean, you had them up until the last 3 words of that. It was good.
77. Who the hell? There's 4 guys listening, and 3 of them are us.
I'm sold. Yeah.
All right. So do that on Twitter. Remember the hashtag TTSO. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with us for this long in the show. We had fun tonight. I hope you did, but honestly, I'm not going to lie. Don't really care because I had a blast. And I got to find the closing music so we can get out of here. All right. We'll see you next week on the Titletown Sound podcast, where we promise more shenanigans. Possibly, if you're lucky, hijinks.
The preceding podcast was a production of Productions Institute, LLC. Copyright 2019. All rights reserved. Don't steal our crap.